So we are going to talk on. All right, so put this on. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? What we're going to talk about today is continuation from my previous video, which was they was talking about the question. No, for my previous video where I was talking about I had composed a question to the group that came from somewhere else. I didn't tell them where I got it from. And the question was, this time I didn't get no jelly. I just got butter and an egg. Oh, this must be raisin. God is great and God is good, and I thank you for my food. By your hand I must be fed. Give me, Lord, my daily bread. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Bless you, Lord, amen. I don't have no sanitizer over here. Be right back. Went out yesterday, but I went right across the street, so I stayed in the house. So I'm saying that because you may not see no videos or just see one video from yesterday. So now I was on the line with, I didn't tell them, but I can tell y'all. I was on the line with Trinity Zion, which is Pastor Howard's church, for their Bible study. They have Bible study every Tuesday night from 7 to about 9:30. Last night went kind of over, and I really wanted to listen to that, but then the group that I'll be in every Tuesday started. So I came out of that and I went over there. So the Pastor Holmes, was like, I asked her a good question, because what's her name left it out. What am I saying? Dr. Smith, who initiated the group, I think she left the group right for a moment. And I think she put Cheryl in charge. And here's my thing. I just got to throw this in there for a minute. I got to go back. I got to. Yeah. I gotta clean this off. When I say clean it off, it's not that it's dirty. It's just that it's very hairy. And being over here eating, it's not really a smart idea, but so far so good. So let me just get some of this hair out the way so that I can eat. I won't have to worry about that too much. So it's coming out. I want to wash my linen today. Okay. All right, so I guess that's good enough. All right, so I wanted to go back and get my message that I preached Sunday. I think I uploaded it to Facebook as a life event. I can't even find it. I was looking for it. I was like, where in the crazy is that at? And I don't want to upload it and have it like twice on Facebook. And people be like, come on now, she really full of herself. But I made a promise to the Lord that when I bring the word, wherever I bring it at, I tape it, whether it's audio or video. I want to try to get it taped as video. But if I don't get it in taped as video and I get it audio, I done learned how to upload it to a specific app that allows me to add pictures. And if not, just do the audio thing. So let me go on. This may be a long video, but it's going to be a learning video, a teaching video. So, if you don't like this kind of video, please skip. But anyway, and I may be talking about this and I may be talking about that, and it may seem like I may forget my train of thought. I may be over here. I'm going to try my best to keep myself focused. Keep my mind on one thing so that way it'll keep y'all interested. That's another reason why I write out my stuff so that way I can stay on the page. So okay, with that being said, let me move on. So as I say, I was on this Bible study with a pastor, Pastor Howard. And the Bible study was finished, and she asked, is there any remarks or whatever? And one of the evangelists gave a question. And the question was in reference to a person being in the church that is sinning, that is doing wrong, not really doing what God wants done, doing what God wants done. And should a person stay in the church? So she used a scenario of David and Saul. That David was, I think she started with that first. That Saul was very devious and devilish to David. Set out quite a few times to try to kill him. Was very jealous and envious of him. Killed his own son, which that was something. Even though we talked about David and Saul in Bible school, but I'm up in age, so there's things I forget. So I didn't really remember that Saul killed his son because he was behind David. And Saul's son was Jonathan. So should a person stay in that church if the leaders is wrong, doing wrong, not following God's purpose or plan, making up their own plans, and sinning? So I brought that question to our group last night. So now the answer that was, let me give the answers. The answers that was from Pastor Howard's group was that no. Pastor Howard said no. Me, she said, this is in my opinion. I'm not saying that God said it and nothing like that. That's how I am. Whatever's my opinion, I say it's my opinion. It ain't nothing I'm getting from God. So, she said I wouldn't stay there. If that pastor is sinning and allowing sin to be done in the church and allowing people to do whatever they want to do, and they around there, they always put that in there, making babies or whatever. I wouldn't stay there. So they elaborate, talk, whatever. Then a deacon came in and said, well, I want you to understand, I'm using the word I want you to understand because I can't remember how he put it, that David did not respect Saul because Saul was appointed by God, because God did not choose Saul. The people choose Saul, but God chose David. That's why it was a lot of conflict between Saul and David, because, I'm throwing this in there, because Saul knew that David was appointed by God, ordained by God, anointed by God to be king. And when God chooses you, then there is going to be work that is going to be powerful. The work that you do is going to be powerful because God is going to have your back. So that's why Saul was so jealous. But now I'm going to go back to what the man said. But Saul was chosen by the people. So David respected Saul because Saul was king, not the spiritual side of Saul, because Saul wasn't spiritual. If you see in my previous video before this one, I'll initiate video 1. I said in that video that I didn't understand that, because if we supposed to get to God through Jesus, then how we gonna overlook our leader in order to get to God? The leader's there. If God put the leader there, then that's it. But then they brought that part out. I kind of jumped the gun, but then that part was brought out, that Saul wasn't appointed by God. So David, that made a difference there. David obeyed Saul, respected Saul, because Saul was king in title, but not king but in Lord. The Lord wasn't Saul's king. Saul was his own king. The people did what Saul did because that's who they wanted to be king. Because Saul was good looking, he was mighty, he was good in battle and all this stuff. But David was just a little old shepherd boy. So Saul reigned and king for a lot of years, but Saul was eventually killed. So the person question, I go back to, should the person stay there if the pastor is doing wrong? And they said no. And I brought it to my group, and that pastor said no. And my thing is when somebody asks a question, I come back to the person that asked the question. I ask that person, well, did it answer? Was the question answered okay for you? What is your answer? That's the first thing. When a person asks a question, I'll be like, well, what do you think? Let them bring out what they think about it, because it's an open discussion. And then if it's biblical, if it's spiritual, my answer is, I said, well, this is what the Bible said, etc., etc. If it's in my opinion, well, in my opinion is this, that, and the other. Okay? But I make sure that question was answered for that person. So what am I saying? That in my perspective, I would say that the person should stay there. If the person making babies, if the person is sinning, whatever the case may be, they should stay there. So let's use the two scenarios of Saul being appointed by people and David being appointed by being appointed by God. Let's use the scenario of what they say, that David respected Saul due to the fact that he was king. So now if David, this is where I was going with in reference to her question not being answered, because she asked, should the person stay there like David did? Yes, the person should stay there. David is the example of what you're supposed to do if a leader is not doing right, whether they was appointed by God or whether they was appointed by man. God let us see that when man appoints somebody, he gets rid of them. But when God appoints them, it works out. Because God's word is still going to stand sure. It's still on solid foundation. Whatever God says is going to be, is going to be. So if a pastor is doing wrong, if pastor's sinning, and if you want to throw in there, if he's out there having babies or whatever the case may be, and your soul is right with God, and you want to do right, God knows you want to do right. That's where it comes in, just like I said. That's where it comes in, where God knows the heart. Because he knows in your heart you want to be right. You want to follow him. You want to do what's right. Maybe you don't want to be running from church to church. Maybe you don't want to have your own church. Maybe you want to have a solid church, a solid foundation. You don't want to be a double stable minded man. You want to be stable, not only in God but in his church. So eventually, God will get rid of that leader if that leader continues down the road that it's going. And if that leader decides to do right, and God is working with that leader like he worked with David when David did wrong, God can send whoever he wants to send to that leader to get corrected. He did it to Saul. It was through his son. I don't know whether anybody else told him that he was wrong, but his son told him, Daddy, why you keep want to kill this person? Why you want to kill David? David do everything you want him to do. Why you want to kill him? God was trying to warn Saul. But because of the hardening of his heart, because of the jealousy, that's why I wanted to go back and get this message. Because of how he felt inside. That's he couldn't see right. He didn't want to see right. He just wanted to see what he wanted. He just wanted to stay in that authority, and that's where the problem comes in. So if this pastor is acting a fool and acting crazy, that pastor know that God's hands is on you. So there is going to be some friction between you and that pastor, just like it was between Saul and David. But all David did was run. You see what I'm saying? And they were saying that David did not stay underneath all of that Saul was doing. You got to understand, that's Saul was still a king. David didn't go in and put up a kingdom, didn't become over nobody. He had his own amount of people to fight, because there was people that followed him regardless, that wanted to be a part of him, that probably didn't even know that he was supposed to be king. You see what I'm saying? Or maybe they did know he was king, but he didn't receive that place yet. So whenever there was a fight or whatever the case may be, they probably came and said, David, there's a war over here. They trying to do this. And David got up, his people went and won the war. Made Saul extra angry. But he didn't go and, okay, well, I'm going to make a kingdom like David's son did. Took over his kingdom. He didn't do that. So he still was under Saul. He still respected Saul. Gave Saul respect that he was king, just like the person said, so I'm understanding. But that person that's underneath that pastor or whoever it is, that leader that is doing wrong, I think in the same aspect of David, I think that person should stay there. Now, if the person's trying to kill him, I mean, literally trying to kill him, like trying to take his life, then you leave. But that's when David ran, when Saul tried to kill him. Now, if they saying this, if they doing this, and they're not allowing you to do this, and they're not allowing you to preach, and they're not allowing you to, whatever the case may be, that still doesn't take away from your salvation and your relationship with God. You running, you leaving, you going somewhere else is showing the person that's pastor that they got the upper hand, they got the power over you. And the only person that's supposed to have power over you is the power of the Holy Ghost, which comes from God. He's the one that's supposed to have leadership over you, not no human being. So in David's perspective, David wasn't under the power of Saul. He was under the leadership of Paul. But the power he had came from God. So God didn't have him leading people. God didn't have him go open up a church over here, because the leadership was still Saul. Because back then, the king was leadership over that particular town or whatever, or over the world, like a president. So Saul didn't go open up another White House. He didn't put a White House right next to the White House of the United States and say, okay, Paul, did I say Paul? David didn't go open up a White House and say, okay, I'm gonna, my White House is gonna be here, and I'm bringing all these people is following David, and nobody's listening to the president. No, God don't work like that. He said, God is not a God of confusion. So David laid low. He ran for his life because he got common sense. You're not going to kill me. I'm getting up out of here. But in all, he still gave respect to the man that was in leadership. So, back to that person. Still supposed to give respect to leadership. Regardless of what leadership does, it does not have anything to do with you. I mean, people may say, well, if your soul not being fed, your soul going to be fed anyway, because the Holy Ghost is going to feed you. That's why it's important to come to church. Because the people don't make the church. The people don't make the temple. Remember when God used Solomon to build a temple for him, he was in the temple. And he didn't allow no foolishness to come up in the temple to contaminate him. And when people did act a fool, God got rid of them. So who is we to come to a decision? And I'm not knocking nobody's decision of what they do. I'm talking about in reference to Peter. I'm talking about in reference to Saul and David. Saul did not want God to be angry with him. Saul. David did not want God to be angry with him. Thank you, Holy Ghost, because when I go back and watch my videos, I notice that I be saying words that's kind of like I didn't mean to say, but I didn't check myself. So thank you, Holy Ghost. So David did not want God to be angry with him. So he did not do nothing against Saul. And then the devil allowed opportunities to arise where David could kill Saul. God allowed opportunities to arise, probably to test David. And that's why David was a man after God's own heart. Not only because he repented when he did wrong, because his heart was pure. They say, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. It ain't all about your works. It ain't all about how good you can sing. It ain't all about how much education you got. That's why I say God look at the heart. Because he knows that heart is what going to help a person see him. Because if your heart is clean, if your heart is right, then all the rest of your functions is going to, all the rest of your vessels is going to work properly. Because your heart is right. Your heart and mind. That's why I say we must serve him with our minds, our hearts. Did they say heart? No. They say with our body, minds, souls, might, right? Because these are things we cannot touch. We can't touch the heart. We could touch your arm. We could touch your nose. We could touch your ear. We could touch the mouth, the lips, the eyes, the head, the feet. We could touch all of that. But he wants things that we can't touch. That the only spiritual realm can touch, which is the mind, the heart, the soul, our might. That's the strength. And God knows the ability of everybody. And if we use that ability to serve him, then we get a good we get a good result. So no. And I'm living example. Everybody else came in there. Everybody else left. We barely got anybody in our church. All the younger people that was a part of the church, gone. I'm still there. Right? I feel that it doesn't matter to me what people do and say to me about me. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it did. That's why I got up and left the church quite often. So, but now I'm at a point where it doesn't matter what they say. Because I'm serving God. I was put there for a reason. Everybody else from part of the church, that's a part of Gaga, that's a part of my grandmother, is gone. If they ain't dead, they out there in the world. Here I am, I've been out there quite a few times and came back. Let me go heat up my coffee. All right. So now, let's go back to when I said earlier I was talking about Cheryl. So, Renee left out and left it to Cheryl. Now, this is what I was going to say. My thing is with Cheryl. Let me see. Let me find that sin. Okay. So we know she ain't got hatred. Okay. Malice. Cheryl got malice within her. And that malice is a part of hatred. So hatred covers a lot of areas. So malice is one of them. You got malice and you got animosity. So malice is the intention or desire to do good. Loose head devil. Let me read that again the right way. Malice is the intention or desire to do evil. So, now, here's the thing. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know whether Renee and Cheryl had a past relationship. When I say relationship, I mean whether they was real close up on each other back then. Because when Renee first opened up her school, what's her name wasn't in it. Now, I don't know, maybe she was, but there was no initiative to it. There was no, what's the word? There was no, help me, Holy Ghost. There was no, look for a word. I use the word initiative, no. There was no, let me see if I can find another word. There was no, dang, my mind is blank. I gotta put this sentence together. There was no signs. Thank you, Holy Ghost. There was no signs that was showing that her and Renee was close back then. Right? So, I'm trying to think when I started getting a connection with her. I started a youth explosion. That was back, I think it may have been 2009. I'm going to go back that far. Right? Because it was before my husband came. My husband came in 2012, 2011. So he said. So, and I was asking him to play for us. He was going to be our musician. And who is this? This is Renee's brother. And Renee and his brother and her brother was in our church, going to our church at that time. Not at that time, but back when I was a teenager. And he was a little boy. He was like my grandsons, always into something. Always running behind me and Jennifer, pulling our hair and poking us in the side of her. And we used to always say, Jason, stop it! And he would hit us and run. He always would pick at us. But it was in a lovely manner. But at that time, we was younger then, so it was like aggravating. Like, what? This little boy must be like us. He keep bothering us, but, So he grew up into a gentleman, right? And became part of the church. Now, I'm going to bring this out. I'm going to be very honest, right? And, because after all, this is my channel. So, he grew up and the way he carries himself, the way he, I can't say the way he looked, but maybe I'll use the word look, because I ain't go to college all that long time. So I'm just going to use words that I know so you can understand. So the way he grew up and started looking, House of Prayer didn't want to be bothered with him. So Sister Kathy, a sister in our church that joined the church through our bishop, our pastor at that time, but bishop today, son, married his son. So she joined the church. So she got in connection with her, right? Now, I don't know how they got in connection. I have no idea. But they got close, right? So upon them getting close, when they opened up this school, and she was connected to the Board of Ed. At that time, she was just opening. So a lot of people was talking about her and what she doing and what's going on there, and they didn't want to be bothered. The kids was going there, and they bust in there, and da-da-da-da-da. So anyway, so now I'm going to have this youth explosion. I need a musician. And back then, I didn't ask nobody for nothing. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't ask permission for nothing. Whatever I felt like doing, I went and did. And when I felt like doing it and I got it into play and I initiated, that's when I went back and told my leaders. Yes, I was wrong. I don't do that today. But back then, the vibe that I got from them, the way they was always no. Yes, to everybody, no to me. So I ain't coming to you to ask you for that. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So upon me doing that, I went and got the guy. The guy came. He was a good player. He's better now. But he was a good player then. And there was a song that the choir was going to sing in his place. In his place, right? And he was working with us to sing it. And we were sounding so good. And he was like, you got a leader? I said, you can lead it. I've never heard him sing. I didn't know he could sing. But I had a feeling that, not to say that every musician can sing. No, that's not true. But, you probably can carry a tune or a note. So he started singing the lead part. He sounded so nice. I was like, everybody was like, yeah, they was clapping like, yeah, right? Because, they knew of him, but they didn't know about him. So, make a long story short, something transpired, and I lost them. And Sister Kathy, being that she was in the school a lot and her kids went to the school, I would go to her, because I would try to call him and he would never answer me. So I would go to him and I said, what happened to our brother so-and-so, our brother Joe? I don't know. Or she would say, or he said he had something to do. Or he said this, or he said that. I go back to her again. I don't know. I ain't see him. And I be saying, how you ain't see him? Y'all in the same school together. How you ain't see him? Okay, so, making a long story short, I lost him. Come to find later on, it came out in so many words and so many people actions that because of the way he looked, they didn't want to interact with him. Okay, so I ain't hear nothing. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I dropped them like hot potato. My kids was going to school, whatever. Once the semester finished, that was it. No more going to the school. But it just didn't turn. It wasn't because I pulled them out. It was just that it didn't so much. Let me finish that sentence. It didn't turn out right, meaning that you mean to go down this street to go to the store, but when you go out, you go this way. And then when you start walking, be like, man, I wanted to go this way. Oh, well, I'm going this way, so I leave it. So that's how it was. My intentions was not to pull my child out of the school. But things started happening. Maybe something in reference to the educational department with her. And there was like a time period between the school year. So he never went back. But everybody thought I pulled him out because of what they were saying and how they felt about him, how they felt about Renee. They stopped liking her. I mean, how you like somebody and then you stop liking them? This is not a emotional relationship. This is a spiritual relationship. So anyway, moving forward. So when I still had the youth explosion. We didn't have we didn't have no musician, but I still had it. The kids started acting crazy, started backing off. They didn't want to come to rehearsal. All this different things started happening, but I still had it. Nobody didn't want to. The directors didn't want to participate, so I had to wind up being the full director, getting all the songs. Then once I did that, then word would come to me, Sister Jordan getting all the songs, Sister Jordan kids singing all the songs, Sister Jordan doing all of this. She ain't asking nobody. Okay. Forward whining. So now, I think they started, not me, Cheryl. The purpose of what I'm talking about, this is the reason why, and what I'm getting to, what I want to get to my message with her. Her mother started getting her to come to the Sunday school because she brought a lot of kids. It wasn't because they loved her. I'm going to be honest with you. It wasn't because, oh, we want to fellowship with her. Oh, my goodness, I love her. I love her. Yeah, that's what they say, but blessed on the pure in heart. So, Renee, being who she is, she gathered up them kids. At that time, she was in New York City, and I think she lived in Queens at the time. And she would gather up them kids and bring them kids to our services. Okay. Something transpired with that. I don't know what. That stopped. And it wasn't no COVID. We stopped seeing her. I'd be like, oh my goodness. Where the crazy is Renee? I don't hear Renee. I don't see Renee. They used to get the same guy that was playing the organ that I was going to get for the youth explosion. They started getting him, I think he came twice or once, to preach for the youth service. So, I'm like, really? And he's a teacher. He got teaching in his genes. So, spiritual genes. So now, moving forward. So, after that, we ain't see him no more. We have the Sunday school convention. No Renee. No kids. Try to affiliate with other kids, other churches with their kids. They wouldn't show up. Renee was faithful. Renee would come. Them other churches, they wasn't coming when she was coming. And they would come every now and then when she was coming. And after a while, nobody was coming. So it was Sunday school convention with House of Prayer. So, moving right along, going down through the years. Now during the COVID, when COVID first started, I was communicating with Renee and stuff like that. Now, I don't know about Cheryl. I don't know whether Cheryl was or what. But that's the secret of Cheryl. That's the thing. It's all about secretive with her. You can say, oh, you know what? I'm going to get me, let's say this wig. I'm going to buy this wig. I'm going to have this wig on. I go to church with the wig on. I look around. Cheryl got it on her head. Right? Because she was somewhere lurking in the darkness listening to me talk. So she go get the wig too. Oh, you got the wig? Yeah, girl, I got it. Right? And she'll wear it. She'll wear it like she going like, yeah, I'm the one. Oh, this is a highlighted wig. I can see the highlights in it. And she just a going. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow. I come with another dress. She see me with a dress on. She won't say nothing. But I got to know her well by her looks. I'll say to myself, oh, she likes this dress. I won't be surprised if I see her with it. The next Sunday, she come with the dress I got on. Now, you know I ain't going to wear it the 2 Sundays in a row. Unless I just like it that much. I just want to. She got it on. And not only did she buy one, she maybe bought 5 in different colors. So now she's going to wear them dresses straight through the month. So that way, if I ever put it on, it's going to look like I'm following her. Well, mind you, I had the dress on, but because she's wearing the dress consistently, people ain't going to really remember that I had the dress on first. Not that it matters, but this is the pettiness that she's behind. Okay. So now, we going up to yesterday. So, Renee comes into the group. She says, I got to leave right quickly. I promised to do this with the kids, and etc. So, Cheryl. I mean, I didn't really hear her say that she left Cheryl in, but I did hear her mention Cheryl's name. So now, she leaves out the group, and now Johnny says to Cheryl, come on, Cheryl. What, you got something for us? You got this, you got that? And she's like, nah. Come on. He said something that I was like, wow, Johnny really be paying attention. He said, you know how somebody be leading the song, you be leading, how you say? You be doing the devotion. You know how people leading the song, you go and take the song from them and you want to be in control of it. Come on, let me see you. You got the ring now. Let me see you lead. Because you want to be taking people's songs. I had to laugh. I didn't realize my mic was on. When I saw that the mic was on, I hit it and made it mute. Because I was laughing. I was like, oh my goodness, this man he really know this girl. He see this. I didn't think nobody else see this. But see, he ain't got no shame in his game because he conversates with her a lot. She calls him up and they talk. So I guess he can tell her. And he sure enough said it like that. You want to be taking over somebody singing. He said it just like this. He said, somebody singing the song, you want to take the song and you want to control it. You take over the song. I was like, that is her. And she just laughed. She like this. I said, yep, I can't say it because you'll feel like I'm beating you up or I'm being so disrespectful to you. But God know how to use people to bring out things that people need to know and people that you will listen to, admire, a person you admire and tell you about yourself. Let's see if you accept it and do better. So, as I was going to say, my thing is that she be holding this malice in her against me. And see, I want to give you a little background on Cheryl and myself. We grew up together. We didn't hang together, but we grew up together. Her mother went out with my uncle, which was Gaga, the founder of the church, sister's son. So my grandmother, son, which is my uncle. She went out with him, and she had a child by him. That child is not in the church. There was so much issues that went on with that child and that mother. and with our side of the family, due to the fact of how her mother Cheryl mother felt. So that's how we knew each other. So I would be taken over there by my uncle and my father, and because they was brothers, and I would be with her mother and her sisters, right? So, but there always was some type of let's go to the word animosity, because I use that word a lot. So animosity is a strong hostility, resentment, and malice. I'm going to add on there towards a person. So malice is the intention or desire to do good. So that's a strong, I don't even think I didn't put in hostility. But so she had these strong feelings inside of her against me. So that brought out malice, which is the intention and desire. And when I say intention and desire, it says the intention or desire. So I'm presuming that intention and desire is not the same thing. So you can't have them both. You got to have one or the other. So you can have the intention to do wrong, and then you can have the desire without the intention. Because the intention, if I'm correct, is what produces the evil. Right? The desire to do it, if you don't, you can have the desire to drink, but you never drink. You know what I'm saying? Because you push it away. No, I don't want to drink. But if you have the intention of drinking, that means that's something that you premeditated. I'm going to the liquor store and I'm going to buy me a bottle and I'm going to drink. I can't stand this person, so I'm going to kill him. I just got to figure out how I'm going to do it. You see what I'm saying? So intention and desire is two different things. So it said malice is the intention to do evil. You may not do it, but you hate the person so bad that you want to do something to them, but because of the consequences, you thinking about the consequences and the repercussion that gonna come behind it, if that's the right word. If not, I'm gonna leave that word alone. I'm gonna say the consequence behind what you do, so I'm not gonna do that. But if you have that desire to do it, oh, I cannot stand that person. I gotta see what I can do. What can I do? Oh, she thinks she look cute with that wig. I'm gonna outshine her. Now, remember that. I'm gonna outshine her. I'm gonna buy me one and I'm gonna fix it up and I'm gonna do it better. And I'm gonna buy an outfit so that it matches the wig. So that when I walk in there, everybody gonna be like, ooh. And even if we both got on the same thing, I'm gonna make sure I be extravagant so that she don't be seen. That's the desire to do evil, right? And then I wrote and I said, all these actions are from within that were produced from a feeling that brought the results. I said that brought the results of an action. I don't even know whether I got that from out the dictionary, whether I put that myself. But if I put it myself, I should have said, all these actions are from within that were produced from a feeling that brought the results of the action. So, you got an intention to do evil against a person. She wanted to outshine me. She wanted to get the same wig I had and get clothes to match and all this other stuff, get new glasses, all this stuff, because she wants to outshine me, do better than me, be seen, so that I won't be the center of attraction. You know how people feel like they got to be the center of attraction? And I don't initially desire the attraction to be center. I consider myself to be in the back. I consider myself to be by myself, like an inverter, to just stay to myself. But because of the way that I am, because I am like that, it seems to cause and produce and present me as a person that wants attention. And maybe there are times when I feel like I do want the attention, but when I do want the attention, it's due to something that I may have done that I'm supposed to get the attention. But you want to give it to somebody else because you don't want to acknowledge my strengths in me. You don't want to acknowledge the good in me. So you want to take my good and give it to somebody else, which is in here. You want to give it to somebody else so that they surpass me and look better than me. So that's Cheryl. So now, because these are the things that she feel inside of her, and whatever her mother was feeling against me, it was being produced and it was being demonstrated in front of them. So it's up to the individual to accept it. So here's the thing. She had a pair of shoes. She could not fit the shoes. She could not fit she could not. You hear what I say when I say she could not? I don't know whether Cheryl's feet is bigger than me or smaller. I think me and her wear the same size now, which is a 7. But when I was younger, I used to wear 6 to a 6.5. I used to have very small feet, right? And that's because of the frame of my body. So, okay. So, she had these shoes. We in the house. Because they lived out in Coney Island. When my uncle would go and visit her and stuff like that. They was in Coney Island. Or Marbell? No, it's Marlboro. They was living in Marbell. So we would go visit them. And this particular day, I think I stayed with them. And they had she had these shoes, nice shoes. I think they were church shoes. I got to hurry up and drink that right down. I can't hold it. So, she had these shoes. And I tried them on and they fit. And I was like, ooh, these are nice, Cheryl. But that's another thing. When you go to her and tell her something is nice, it look nice. Well, I'm going to talk about me. I go to her and tell her something look nice. It look nice on her. She won't wear it no more. It's like she don't want to. That's the evilness in her. She don't want the compliment from me. She want it from somebody else. So if I go and I say, ooh, that's a nice dress you got on. Oh, thank you. Which I did. But I'm not going to bring that in right now. And she ain't wear the dress no more. So, because I liked the shoes, she didn't want me to have it. Now me, if somebody say, oh, I like them shoes. I went and preached somewhere at a church, and they wore silver and black. Not silver and black, gray and black. And I had these shoes that was shiny. They had like rhinestones on the heel. They was real nice, right? But I didn't wear them. So this particular day, I was trying to figure out, okay, what kind of shoes I'm going to wear. And the Spirit led me to wear them shoes. Now, I'm like saying to myself, why am I wearing these shoes? I don't wear these shoes. These shoes in the box are sitting up there. I regretted I spent the money. But because I had got it through credit, I was like, all right, I'm good. I'll keep them. But when I'll hold on to them again. And when I need to wear them, I'll pull them back out, right? I wore these shoes to this particular church that I preached at. And I had something in my message where I used my foot, and I was like, well, go ahead, something about in reference to my foot, like washing feet or whatever, however the case may be. And after the service was finished, one of the evangelists came over to me. It was like two of the sisters in the church, and one of them was the evangelist, came over to me talking about my shoes, talking about, oh, I like them shoes. I was like, really? Yeah, I like them. And I had my flats with me. Because I bought my flats because they wasn't shoes that you walk around with. I didn't like them. They was kind of big for me anyway. They was a 7, but they was made like in some sort of material that slipped off of you. They was kind of like silk. So the evangelist, the one that invited me there to preach, not to say that's the reason why I did what I did. Well, it was like a battle going between one of the girls and one of the ladies and her. So I was like, well, if y'all can fit them, y'all can have them. And they was like, for real? I said, yeah, I got my flats with me. I don't wear them. It doesn't make sense for me to keep something I don't wear and somebody else can use them. I don't mind. And in my message, I was talking about helping people and giving things, something I was saying in the message, you know, and I come down off the pulpit and I get to live what I just preached. And I took my shoes off and gave them to her. She tried them on. No, she didn't try them on. She did try them on when she got home and she sent me a picture. But I think she tried them on there and she was like, yeah, they fit. I said, well, you can have them. You can have them. I didn't stay around I didn't procrastinate or nothing like that. I just gave her the shoes, put on my flats, and I left like that, right? So, going back to my message in reference to Cheryl. I mean, my message, Lord Jesus. Going back to what I said in reference to Cheryl, you know, she did not want me to have the shoes. Now, I can't remember why I brought that example in, but I guess as you watching it and you get to that part, then you'll see why I said it. But right now, I can't remember. My ADHD checked in. So, for a second. So now, the shoes is nice. She did not want me to have them shoes. No. I'm holding on to shoes. She holding on to the shoes. And she going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with me. And I'm like, Cheryl, you can't fit the shoes. Sharon, let go the shoe. Let go. And I'm trying to pull them from her. And I'm saying to her, I said, that's not nice. Wow, you are evil. Wow. I said, you an evil person. And I was younger. Maybe I was a teenager, so I had to be like 18. No, I wasn't 18. I had to be young. Because I'm remembering I got married when I was 19. I went to Job Corps when I was 17. So I had to be like 15 or 16 years old. Wow, I was young. Because the reason why I know this didn't happen afterwards, the reason why I know this had to be when I was younger, because I went to Job Corps when I was 17. So this didn't happen afterwards, because once I went to Job Corps, that was it. Marriage came, babies came. Or should I say babies came, marriage came, apartment came. So it wasn't even like that. It was before I got married. So I had to be about 16. Yeah, I could have been 17 because I probably was still going to school at the time. So I'll give myself 17. But she was evil. And I said, oh, you evil. I said, Sarah, you can't fit the shoes. So, and you know what got me? The mama was there and the mama didn't do nothing. I told the mama. I said, I think I called her Aunt Berg. I said, Aunt Berg, I said, tell Cheryl to let go of the shoes. And she was like, Cheryl, you don't want her to have the shoes. No. But you can't fit the shoes. So what? I'm going to hold on to the shoes. I don't want her to have the shoes. And I'm like, ooh, you evil. Who knows? Maybe that's why she had this hatredness and still holding on to it, to be honest. So, I never got the shoes. The mother never. Now, if it was me and my child, I'd be like, look, let go of the shoes. Let go of the shoes. Boom, here, take the shoe. You go in the room, take a time out. That's it. That's the end of it. I'm not going to sit there negotiating with my child. You can't fit the shoes, and you don't want her to have the shoes because you don't like her. Because me as a parent going to know what's going on because I'm paying attention to my child. So I know you don't like her. So you don't like her, so you don't want her to have the shoes, right? I'm going to clarify, and I'm going to get it out right then and there. So therefore, that person know that my child don't like you, and if you don't like her, then now it's out. So now we just gonna pray about this and we gonna go on. You gonna give her the shoes. I don't wanna hear nothing. You can't fit them. You ain't gonna give them to nobody. You gonna have them sitting over there in the box, in the corner. They're gonna wind up going in the garbage. So here, take the shoe now. You go on in your room, take a time out. And I don't care if she pouting. I don't care if she mad. She want to scream in the room. Go on in the room, close the door. It's all right. You'll be all right. You ain't going to die. This ain't a matter of life and death. You see what I'm saying? So go on in there, and you better not be screaming too hard, because I'm going to meet you in the room. And that's it. You got to know how to take charge of situation. And having the Holy Ghost, she should have knew how to do it. Here I am, a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, got to deal with another 17-year-old. And there's adults there who don't even know how to deal with 17-year-olds. So I'm telling her, oh, you evil. So, with that being said, all these feelings, remember I wrote, all these actions are from within that was produced from a feeling that brought the results of that action. So she didn't want me to have the shoe because she had feelings in her against me already. Now we in this day and time, and she don't want to be in connection with me. She don't want me to go with her nowhere. She go get every Tom, Dick, and Harry to go wherever she want to go. She don't want me to be a part of it because she got all this in her. So that's the desire to do good. Now when she go, don't give me the shoe, that was intention. Because I can't even remember how the shoe came up, but I'm thinking that the shoe was brought up intentionally. She do things intentionally. See, that's big different from desire. Paul said, brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved. See, that's a desire that he wants. If it's an intention, then he'll get up, he'll go over to Israel, and he'll get it done. But remember, Israel is like a world. So there's individuals in it. It's like Brooklyn. There's people that live in Brooklyn, but Brooklyn is just a state. You can't change Brooklyn. The people in the people that's in Brooklyn is what make Brooklyn. But you can't change Brooklyn. The only thing you can do in changing Brooklyn is changing the name. So it's no longer Brooklyn, it's this. So that was a desire. She kept that desire to do things. And being that she kept it all the way from back then when we were 17 years old, now that we all the way over here in our 50s, she's still holding on to that. And her intentions, her desire done changed to intentions, and that's what's coming out now. So there's another one where I said that she'll get this, the wig, and want to go over me. Emulation. And that's an effort to match or surpass a person or achievement, typically by imitation. Emulation is a sin. And it's an effort to match a person. Get the same here. Or surpass a person. So match and surpass is different. Matching is being on the same level, looking the same. Surpass is that you're going to go to an extra extreme. So you got an intention. We go back to malice. You got an intention to do better than me. No. You got a desire to do better than me. So now you sit back and figure out how you're going to do it. And then once you get it together, then you get that intention. This is what I'm going to do. That's why people premeditated murder get a different charge than the actual murder. Because that means you sat down, you mapped it out, you put a plan together how you going to kill them, and then you go and you do it. That's why it's masterminds behind different and certain types of murders. Okay. So she does an effort to match me, an effort to be like me. And then once she takes on that demeanor of me, then she wanted to surpass me. And I'm telling you, people always say to me, I had people come to me asking me where my sister was. What sister? I'm looking at the person like, you don't know my sister. And then they go, yeah, your mother. My mother. One time I had to say to the lady, my mother. And she looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, Why is she acting like that? So she said, yeah, your mother. Your mother. I said, ma'am, you don't know my mother. No disrespect. Who is my mother? To be honest, when people come to me and ask me that, now that I'm remembering, I never let them know nothing about my mother. I go right along with them. When they say your sister, I be, my sister? Which one? Because I'm like, maybe you do know my sister. Maybe you did ran into her and she told you that I go to church. I go to House of Prayer, Bishop Anderson Church, Pickens Avenue. Maybe she did tell you that. So maybe you do know my sister. So which one? Because I got two of them in Brooklyn. Two of them in Brooklyn? No, I only got one. I got one of them in Brooklyn. And then they be like, you know the one that go in the church, she in your church. I be like, And then your mother, deep down inside I get a little offended because you talking about my mother now. You don't know my mother. But I be like, be nice. So when they realize that me and Cheryl ain't sisters, they be like, wow, y'all look so much alike. And they be like, you look just like Elder Robinson. So here's the thing. This is what can happen. Wait a minute, there's another one in here. Wait a minute. Hold up. Envies is a desire to have a quality, possession, or other desirable attributes belonging to someone else. Wait a minute, there was something in here where, or did I say it? It was something where you look like the person. Well, I guess I'm not a sin. I guess it's because. Yeah. But, they were saying, oh, you look just like Ella Robinson. And oh, Cheryl look just like you. Y'all look alike. And what happens is that came back to me. You desire to be like that person so much that you start looking like them. That's the sinful nature. Okay. BJ, bring it on. I'm trying to find. You know, it says, let me read on with that emulation. It says, the verse has a downside to it. That sin has a downside to it, which is this sinful nature causes you to want to imitate others, but not out of respect. That's what I was looking for. Not out of respect nor admiration for them, but because you are jealous. So she sees me. She see the hair. Oh, that's a nice. That's why she never take my advice. She never take when I go to her and say, oh, that's nice on you, and wear it again because she looks nice in it. Because Sister Jordan say I look nice in it. Oh, so it must be look nice on me. Not only because I said it, but because I'm being truthful and I'm telling you the truth of the matter. But because I said it, you don't want to wear the dress. Or because I got the wig on, you want to wear it. Because you want to imitate me. You want to look like me. You want to sing a song like me. And I think I brought that out of my message. You want to go and lead the service and make a mess of it. If you're supposed to play the drum, play the drum. Not go lead the service and make a mess, because that's not what you're supposed to do. So, but because This sinful nature causes you to want to imitate others, but not out of respect nor admiration for them, but because you are jealous. So be careful of those that stick under you. Because she did. She would stick under me. See, now she don't stick under me no more. Stick under you, calling you on the phone. I had people that call me. Now they don't call me no more. They done got to know things about me. They imitating some of the things that I said to them. Okay. Calling on the phone, riding in your car. I don't have a car, but there's some people that. This 10th sinful nature causes these people to imitate you because they want to match your ways, know your thoughts, get your ideas, and may even go beyond your expectations, which is being much better than you, only to make them look good, and your achievements will look like they did it. You the one who really achieved. You the first one put the wig on. You don't want to look nice in it. But they go put it on and everybody comes to them, oh, that's a nice wig. Where you got that wig from? I done told her where to buy it from. So now she's telling everybody where to get it from. And everybody's looking at her like, oh yeah, she told me where to get this wig from. But she knows she got the wig from me. But want to go beyond my expectations. Let's say, for instance, I'm a good service leader. There's things that the Lord had me doing in the service leading the service that brings in the Spirit of God. So now she go lead the service, and now she want to do it also. But it's not working. Just like I said, you go try to do that, and you make a mess of it. Why? Because that's not your job. Your job is play the drum. Okay. Be careful of the sin of emulation, because it does exist. These sins would not have been written if they were not in existence today. Okay. And here was another one. Seditions is conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state. And troublemaker. This is the type of sin it is. It's a troublemaker. A person who habitually causes difficulty or problems, especially by inciting, there go that word again, inciting others to defy those in authority. Not only the leaders, but those that may be over something or in charge of something at that time. No, don't do it. Don't do what she tell you to do. And you making people do wrong. Let me just tell you where these words are. These words are in Galatians 5:16-21. And that's the sinful nature. Oh, geez. I'm going to go back the next time I preach. I'm going to go to the second category of people, which is the spiritual nature. When we are spiritually minded, that was my topic, we will begin to look at life from God's perspective. His Spirit of the Holy Ghost will allow us to see things as God sees them, and will cause us to live right, do right, think right, and talk right. You will be empowered to serve God and do His will, as in Acts 1:8. The first missionaries. I think that's when he said, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel. That's after they got the Holy Ghost. Spiritually minded means your mind is controlled by the mind of God. And the scriptures that I had in reference to the spiritual mind, it was Romans 8:1, 4, 6, 7, and 9, Colossians 3:1. And then closing out with Galatians, the same one with the spiritual nature, but we're going to Galatians 5:22-25. And I brought Romans 8:1, 4, and 6, 7, and 9. I went to that. I read it. Colossians 3:1 and 2, as if you then be risen with Christ. And Galatians 5:22-25. And that's when I started breaking down the fruits of the Spirit. When we're spiritually minded, we will have love for Christ and keep that love for Christ. Wow. So I guess that's it. That'll be the end of this video. Let me see if my... Oh, that is... That is the... So, yeah. All right, so I got some... So that's the end of this video. So I'm just going to stop it because I don't want to be... So thanks for listening. And please like and subscribe to my channel. God bless you. Bye.